The Central Bank of Nigeria has finally lifted the foreign exchange restriction it placed on import of 43 items 8 years ago. In a statement signed by CBN's Director of Corporate Communication, Dr. Isa Abdulmumi, the bank said this is a significant change to the foreign exchange market policy. In a circular in June of 2015, the CBN published a list of imported goods and services that will no longer be eligible for foreign currency markets. The list, which was originally 41, was later updated to include 2 more items. Such items on the list include rice, cement, vegetable oil, roofing sheets, wheelbarrows, iron rods, wooden doors, toothpick, kitchen utensils, tomato and tomato paste, with 33 orders are now free to be imported. The CBN decision to leave the ban on the 43 item signifies a major shift and step in resolving the current country's forex crisis. Over the past 4 months, the naira has depreciated by over 50% to both the authorized and unauthorized market segments after the Central Bank of Nigeria announced in June that it has collapsed all forex windows into investors and exporters window. But many economic analysts seem to question such a move, wondering if it will help the issue of forex or further deepen the crisis. Another move that many have also questioned is federal government move to borrow a fresh $400 million for conditional cash transfer to 15 million households as one of the measures to cushion the effect of petrol subsidy removal on Nigerians. Many feel rather than the money spent on household for limited months, rather it should be used for facilities that will generally be beneficial to all Nigerians. Well, on the big story for today, we shall also be asking the questions. Hence, that is what we are having as we kickstart this week edition of the big story. And that is, we're talking about the economy and federal government move to unban for 3 items and also for fresh loans for cash transfers. And we're looking critically at those moves being made by the federal government last Thursday and all through the weekend. And that is the economy, all centered on improving the economy. And that is federal government unban for the 3 items as much as it has a request for fresh loan for cash transfers. But anyway, to help us talk about it in the studio, as always, you do know when it comes to economic issues, we tend to always love to bring him on board to help us address them. And we're talking about no other person but Mr. Gideon Oguns. Good morning and welcome to the show.
Good morning, Nigerians.
And I quickly want to say happy birthday to you. On the mind it was yesterday.
It's happy birthday to my little girl.
Okay, but celebration will always be in the air.
Wonderful, wonderful.
Well, let's start first by looking at the reason for unbanning the 43 items after 8 years. And according to the Central Bank of Nigeria, the move or action will help boost liquidity in the Nigerian forex exchange market. And in liquidity, what I know they mean is dollar flow. But I want you to be honest and bring out your economic expert look at this. Will it really help to deal with the forex issue or even deepen the crisis? Because that's a question. I might not really have that economic, but I really want to understand, because it's all about dealing with the issue of liquidity.
Yeah.
Can this help really deal with the issue of forex, or is it going to compound the problem with the high rate of dollar demand?
Mike, this is a wrong foot, a wrong step in the wrong direction at a time we need a right step. You just try to speak economics, liquidity, the ease at which an asset can be turned to a desired currency. So, in what way does bringing in these items improve the quantity of dollar that is available? Rather, it will be a drain. However, let me try to speak the grammar he's trying to speak, which I am not in support of, but I'm going to recap what he has said. He feels that the people driving the black market are these products or merchants who don't have legal ground to go to the I&E window.
Okay.
So he's of the honest opinion that if this chunk of persons are no longer going to the black market,
speculations will not be there.
Then this good. So the arbitrage will now reduce.
Okay.
Then it will now continue to be that the I&E window is open to all and sundry.
So you can go
as
pick dollar if you wish.
Yes, where you are banned from using it. So you go sourcing your dollar, putting more pressure. So the pressure is actually trying to curtail. It's not in the quantity of dollar, but on the pressure on dollar.
Okay, so let's really understand this. So the idea of the CBN governor, Cardoso, is rather than have this for the 3 items being placed on a ban, they can't come to CBN to look for dollar. Hence, they're going to the black market, making those ones speculate because they are the only place you can come. So if I tell you I'm going to give you for 2,000 naira, you don't have any choice. So that's the idea of bringing this policy on board.
That's what he says. So that's what he's trying to say, that if such a pressure is taken off the dollar, we might be able to stabilize.
But my next question will be, if you have enough dollar in the market or around to play with, would even then really be that so important to go to? Because on the mining, yes, it's being placed on the ban, but if the availability is so much, would it not naturally also help to reduce the price that they go to get this dollar from?
Is yes or no?
Okay.
No, because if I can't get it, no matter the cost you are giving it, and I must get it, then I will look for alternative sources
to get
it at whatever price.
Okay.
So that fuels the speculation.
Okay.
Now, yes, in that if we were disciplined persons who want to actually allow the free hand of the invisible market force to work,
to play,
then we'll look at what the I&E window is and try to caution ourselves. Why go get dollar at 1,050 naira when it is still possible to get it at 745? So, but these persons aren't doing that, because if they toe this line, they may be out of business.
So because we're having a difference of almost 300 now.
300, yeah.
Okay, now let's look at a more broader picture, because that's just a mindset.
Yeah,
that's a way to deal with the speculation. But let's look at the broader picture in itself, because many Nigerians are confused. If we take our minds back to 2021, yes, to be precise, our total exports stood at about $47 billion. And if we now look at that of the imports, we imported roughly $52.08 billion worth of goods into the country, with a balance difference of about $4 billion. And last year, it was also almost a similar issue. And if you take your mind back to 5 years from now, it has been so. We always have a balance differentiation that seems to be, very unfavorable. So my next question will be, undermining your thinking of dealing with the issue of speculation, should we think of the pressure these unnecessary new imports will put naturally on the naira and the dollar?
That's why I told you that it's a wrong step in the wrong direction at a time like this, where we need right steps.
Okay.
So the wrong step here is, if we want more dollars, what are the activities we should do?
Yeah, because should we not bring more into rather than use the limited one we have?
Within this time frame, that the greatest pressure on the dollar is the backlogs.
Okay.
Which those persons want their payments in dollars. You don't have enough dollar to pay those backlogs. And yet the economy needs to go forward. So there are persons today who need dollar.
Yeah.
Now, so I would have expected a growth in our exports.
Yes, to help cushion.
In our
bringing more dollar into.
In quality assurance narratives, so that our products are not only fit for Nigerians to consume, but can even be exported.
Okay.
If we had told this line, and put necessary investment in that direction, then we can be talking of increasing our dollar supply. Now, we are not dealing with the supply. We are just focusing on speculation as a result of pressure, which can never be wiped out of existence.
Of course not.
So I call it a wrong step. It's not going to yield the desire of stabilizing the foreign exchange market.
Okay, now let's still remain there, because I want clarity for our listeners and viewers. Let them truly understand. What these, you're saying these will likely do is, rather than having it reduce the pressure on the dollar, most certainly it's going to add to the pressure.
Yeah.
That's what it will do.
Yeah, that's most likely what will happen. Because the CBN don't have enough.
Okay.
Let's narrow it for ease of analysis.
Because at the end, they'll still go to the black market.
If we've been trying to service 10 firms or companies, their dollar requirements, we've not been able.
Okay.
We have some shortfalls or backlog that have been there. Now you've increased the number of persons you desire to service to plus 43.
Okay.
Now we had a problem servicing 10. Now you add plus 43 without any known economic measure of increasing the quantity you want to be sharing among them. So what will happen? The corruption will shift from the black market to the I&E window.
Because now many persons will be looking for it. And they're ready to
so you can see that
cut corners to get.
Of course. Every means, crooked or otherwise, will be deployed to make sure it's gotten.
Okay, now let's also take another angle to this, because I like looking at all angles as it concerns this very policy. We've looked at the angle of dealing with speculations. We'll now look at the angle of how it's going to also affect dollar coming into the country. We having more dollar, because now we'll be importing rather than exporting and getting that dollar in. Now let's look at another angle. Do you feel Nigeria or the country is so hungry at this time that might just be another move to deal with it? Because why I ask, we're now going to import in rice, we're now going to import tomatoes, meat, and paste, tomato paste to follow. Do you feel this is the way it is? We also need to also relieve the issue of hunger. But if that is the case, why now import wooden doors, roofing sheets, head pans, wheelbarrow, security and razor fencing poles, and the toothpick that they use to help us remove the need from our teeth? Yes, so iron damage. Oh no, don't damage it. But does it make sense?
Okay. Let's try to make a sense from the nonsense, because the whole thing is a nonsense.
Okay, a strong word there, but go ahead.
It's a nonsense. But the sense here is, if we truly wanted to address
food shortage,
I don't want to call it, because the items, there is only rice that is food. If we want to address the issue of those shortages in our economy.
Yeah.
Now, I give you two quick fixes. Do we still have imported tomato paste in the market as at today, as at yesterday? If the answer
is yes.
Is yes. Don't feel it. Yes. Do we still have imported rice in our stores?
Of course.
The answer is yes. So what new thing are you bringing by this? So you see that's why I said it's a nonsense. Because let's just take a look at our markets. These proscribed items are still in our shops. Let's go to where they sell wood or doors or scraps. If we will not find these foreign things there, they are there. So what you would have done, if I were to give him an advice before he took his own, is liberalize. Don't bring them in. They have been going away how to fund their business. But reduce, if it is the tariff, if it's the custom duties. There are other waivers you could create for them to ensure that while they go to the black market to get their dollar, their price range as a result of the arbitrage does not go too high. Find another thing within what they pay. Reduce the 300 naira. That way, they can sell their product less than 300 naira, which is what you are trying to get. So it will have been a much more fiscal approach than this monetary approach. That way, we wouldn't have been discussing this, because we'll have just seen that the prices of things are refusing to go up. That would have been a better idea.
But don't you feel this is the best way to really deal with the food crisis? Because let's look at it. It's not only rice they will be importing. They will importing rice, margarine, vegetable oil, meat and processed meat products, poultry and processed poultry products, tinned fish in sauce, toothpick, like I said, to help us take the meat out of our teeth. But that's not it. I'm just trying to be on a lighter note. Because if you look at it, according to UNICEF, 25 million Nigerians will go hungry between now and December.
That's an estimate.
That's an estimate from UNICEF. And basically more children, that's what they mean. And that's where their concerns lie.
Yeah.
But not only that, do you see this also helping out? Because we know we're close to December. A bag of rice as it stands today is 50,000 naira. And in all likelihood, if something is not being done and done soon, we might be buying a bag of rice for 60,000 naira come December. So don't you feel, okay, well, it could be. We might be going to 70, 80,000 naira. So don't you feel these measures now being taken by the central bank will help to bring in more rice, because now it's no more a banned product. The borders will now be opened. We're going to get a free flow of these food stuff into the market to help deal with the overpricing of these food products. Would this not also be the best way to deal with the hunger that we're being faced? We do not have enough to even feed ourselves.
I agree with you. Now, I told you they were two quick fix.
Okay.
So I've explained one.
Yes.
Now, the second part of it is, if this lifting will make foreigners, the Indonesians, the Chinese, the producers of this, to be the ones bringing in the food, then there won't be much of a problem.
Directly,
because it will be that they will bear
the cost.
The costs. But if it will be Nigerians who will require dollar to go buy, then it is not an answer. But I think if they can encourage, because I don't know the kind of agreements, you know, we've been going globe talking, trying to sign different agreements.
Yes, bilateral.
It is not impossible that maybe one of these agreements have to do with certain of these countries flooding Nigeria with their products. Even though that is not in the news, but I'm beginning to think
we seem not to have that information.
At the end of the day, the Nigerian market will receive so much of food, but imported. However, the importers are not depending on the Nigerian economy for their dollars. If that's what is, then the answer is yes. It will help to cushion, reduce, retain the ability for us to eat. But if it is not this way, but that it is a normal Nigerian businessman who will first turn naira to dollar, then go to buy, then come to sell to us in naira, the price will still hit the roof up.
So whether you're flooding it, not flooding it, but once it concerns Nigerian doing the trade, we might never get a really...
We cannot get it out.
Okay, anyway, we'll get out of it. I'm not mean out of these woods though, but we need to go on a break. That's what I mean. And when we come back, we'll continue our discussion centered on not just only the 43 items that restriction of not getting dollar is. You remember it happened on in 2015 when then President Muhammad Buhari came into office. He had about 41 items first placed on the ban list, all in the need to drive the economy and see how we can locally produce most of the things that were put on ban. But have that worked in the last 8 years? Well, the question might not be no, might really be no, rather. Looking at this recent move by the CBN to unbundle what he bundled and to unban what he banned and to let go of what he held. So that's what the bone of contention seems to be, and the reason for us discussing about it. But remember also, we'll also be looking at the fresh loan that the federal government has sought for, $400 million in all. And they say they want to take it to 15 million households. But my question is, Is your house among it? Well, anyway, I'll be asking that later. Let's go on a break.